Yeah, baby, you know what time it is. Now let's get it started.
Are you kidding me? Unreal!
While our HBCUs are mostly known for academic rigor, community, they also know how to turn up.
Does he have it? Yes, he does!
And that might be the knockout punch.
All right, greetings and salutations. Hoping all is well with you and yours. As you can see, we had a little bit of technical, whatever you want to call it, but another episode of Fangs up here, and it's hate week. Depends on what school you're rooting for, what that means. Now, if it's orange and green, it's 9 times out of 10, it's Florida State you're hating. But if you're like me, it's the opposite way around. Miami hate week, I'm sorry. But it is also FAMU Southern week. I don't really hate them though. So, but I'm excited for that one. Going to be going up there tomorrow morning. Not gonna lie, early in the morning, get some things done, but be on campus for the game on Saturday. So, good times. But this week, to me, this is the time where football season's coming to a close and basketball season has started to open up, and it's that time. It's just that time where, as a fan, the transition starts. I know for me personally, like NBA wise, my team's been losing. I hadn't really been caring. It doesn't matter. I'm a Miami Heat fan, and we win some, we lose some. But until we get to really after Christmas, that's when I care. College basketball, March is the big month. But once we get into conference play, that's when I really start caring. So right now, it's the buildup, and the buildup is real. Men's basketball dropped their schedule this week, and we're able to see that Miami's got a tough schedule. I'm just, if FAMU has a 500 record in basketball this year, I might be shocked. I'm just, because you're gonna have to win out through the conference. It is a grueling schedule. I've heard reports. Again, I can't confirm this for myself, but I did hear they're bringing in over $1 million for basketball traveling. So we're playing some heavyweights. FAMU's playing the likes of Oregon, good basketball program. Oregon State, Portland. All right, I mean, they'll probably beat us, but still. University of Florida, Gators are coming back with a pretty good squad. UGA, which they're good, they're basketball power in name only. They're just not consistent. Louisville, the University of Kentucky, Purdue, and our SWAC slate. So that's a tough schedule. I'm sorry. That is out of conference. I dare you to find a team who plays a tougher schedule. That's just, it's almost unfortunate how tough that schedule is. But we do get some teams like Albany State, and that's not a guaranteed win. It's just, man, that is a tough schedule. I don't foresee us making any type of tournaments with that kind of schedule. It's just my honest opinion. If anything, FAMU wise, I'm gonna be at least honest with you. I may not be. I don't know. I don't know the right way to say it, but I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna do that. And yeah, this is not a basketball season where I see us just going out there and just dominate. I don't see it. I could be wrong, but I personally don't see it. I think we have a chance in conference to make a run, but you lost your top scorer. You lost a lot of other players. Like FAMU lost a lot of talent. You're bringing in a good amount according to the coaching staff, but you lost a lot. So we're gonna see. Again, schedule's out there. It's on the FAMU website. And first game's against Oregon, though. So that's going to give us fans a lot to kind of look at and see where we are and where we kind of hope to be, and just take off the orange and green colored glasses and just be a realist about it. It's going to be a tough schedule. Not trying to say that the coaches can't do this or the coaches can't do that. It's going to be a tough schedule, and we just got to see. That's just where I'm at with it right now. Now, the women's basketball has already started. They played an exhibition game yesterday against West Florida, and it was a close game. It was closer than a lot of the people would like. We won 62-58, and honestly, if you consider where FAMU women's basketball has been in the past 2 years, that's success. It's not the thing you want to say. It's not the thing you want to admit, but that's a win. It's been so hard, to the point where people are literally calling for our coach's job. Like, why does she still have a job? And you're like, COVID kicked her butt last year. You kind of gotta give her a chance. You can't be so critical at the end results and not look at kind of some of the other parts of it. It was a tough season. And this year, to start off with a win, that was needed. Field goal percentage, it left a little bit to be desired. 37%. I want better. 62%, 61% from the free throw line. Again, I want better. I want 70% from the free throw line from any team. That's just kind of bare minimum, because the ones you miss are the ones that hurt you later. Like, if I'm not saying 100%, but if we hit 80% of our free throws, that game is more comfortable. It may be 6 to 10 point victory instead of a 4-point game. You want to kind of stretch these out. You want to get these wins as they come, though. We need every win we can get, especially with women's basketball, because it's at that time. Like, Coach Pillow's contract, we'll see how much longer it's got coming up, but man, you have a great basketball arena. You have a fan base that'll show up. I'll give you that. But you got to win. You got to get the wins. And this may be where women's basketball does the opposite of men's basketball. Men's basketball, you can have a losing season and make a lot of money because of last year. Last year, you were expected to do nothing, and you had a remarkable season. This year, I think the opposite's going to happen. I think it's going to be a really tough schedule. I think it's going to be kind of hard to win a lot of those games. And if I'm being honest, being able to win those games early is going to help the women's basketball team later. We're going to need those games. So we'll see. I mean, you got to win. You need 10 games. You need 10 wins. That's for women's basketball. I need 10 wins. Men's basketball, I don't know. I got to go back and look at that schedule, because non-conference, you might get one, and that's being nice. But the women's, I got to see it. I got to see it. I mean, I'm not a huge basketball head, but honestly, the podcast started during basketball season, so kind of circling back around at this point. And again, we got to win. We got to win. We don't have to win a SWAC, but you got to win enough games to keep people interested, because FAMU fans are fickle. You saw at homecoming. Once halftime was over, the stadium 3/4 full, maybe. I mean, granted, there are concerts, events, everything to go to, but we're fickle. We're a fickle fan base. I'm not. We don't stay for 4 quarters unless it's the right team. Southern's one of those teams. We stay for 4 quarters, especially if the game is good. Especially if they bring the band. I don't think they're going to bring the band. But Southern's one of those teams. We're going to see about that, though, basketball-wise. Basketball FAMU fans, we show up late. We show up about halftime. And then we stay to the end. Again, so we're going to see. We need those wins. Now, mentioning winning program, though. Volleyball. Oof, oof. We got Alabama State coming in, and FAMU is not lost in the SWAC. This was probably the best game of the season. It was the toughest to watch, though. If you go back and watch that Alabama State game on streaming, it was hard to watch just because the feed was so choppy. It was not a good watch. But Alabama State's good. This is mark this game. This is the game you want to see. If you are a person that's going to be like, the SWAC is going to be my thing, the SWAC is going to be my bag, this is a volleyball game. These two teams right here, they'll meet again. Let's hope it goes FAMU's way again. Last time we had to come from behind to win. I was doing an episode that night and waiting, like, okay, where we at? This is gonna be a good game. 4:00, Tallahassee, Florida, on Sunday. I can't make that one because I gotta be home. Because after that game, 4 hours, I gotta be home. But I'm gonna try to watch it. If it's on the Rattler Network, I'm watching it. Because I do this, but I'm a fan. Like, I'm a fan. I love FAMU. And so hopefully that's on somebody's TV. Now, the day before that, Southern. I mean, you could kind of leave it there. Like, FAMU Southern is not an ugly rivalry. Let's tell a lot of truths right here. FAMU does not have ugly rivalries. We don't. Sorry. We don't hate Cookman. These get on nerves. Like, it's like your annoying little brother, little sister, since, this Mary's kids. We don't hate them. They get on my nerves. Especially that winning streak they had. But I don't hate Cookman. But Southern, man, yeah. Southern, that is one of those. That's one of them. Southern is one of those teams where we play them and it's a good game. It's a lot of fun. It's better when the both bands are there. I'm gonna give you that. When the 100 and the Human Jukebox on the field together, it's a good game. It's fun. It's fun. Southern still probably played one of my favorite songs ever when they played Hate Me Now. I will never forget. They played that, and I had to be in high school, I think. And I was like, who is that? And it was like, oh, that's Southern. That's the band. I was like, oh, I've heard them play before, but I did not know. Yeah, Southern. Southern is one of them. Like, I hate crankage. Southern is one of the few where I'll sit there and watch it. Again, I know the band's not supposed to come for this one, supposedly, from what I've been told, just because that's a lot of travel. And those are college students. Like, at a certain point, we have to realize they're not professionals. They're college students. That's a lot of time on the road, back to back. At some point, they got to get their grades. And they're not flying to Tallahassee. They're probably riding a bus. That ride to Baton Rouge is like 6 to 8 hours. It's a ride. I've made it 2-3 times. I think 3. Yeah. It's a ride. And it's when you're carrying that many people in one place. That's a long ride. But yeah. But last game, Southern lost 35-0. And I don't know what you can take from that. That game was against Jackson State. And to be honest, I looked at it from a common opponent side. I didn't look at wins, losses, stats, everything else. As far as season-long stats, I picked a common opponent that we both lost to, Jackson State. And I kind of looked to see, like, all right, who does what better? Because Southern's played some bad teams, but FAMU hadn't beaten any good ones. I'm just saying, like, FAMU's yet to play to its potential. And maybe our potential is what I've seen, but we have routinely put together an ugly 60 minutes of football. And the way we put together football games are in halves. The first half from this game matches the second half from another. Like you just literally, oh, well, this half, that half. We have not in a 60-minute game put together something that's worth watching. Even homecoming. Homecoming was good because we won. Homecoming was good because it was decisive. But we also had 4 turnovers. Like, get mad at me you want to, but I'm gonna point out the truth. We had 4 turnovers in that game. One was on a terrible play call that you ran twice. 3 of them were on the quarterback. One of those picks, I can let you slide. I can let you slide because one of those picks, he does get hit in his throwing motion. But so okay, he's got a pick and a fumble. In the last 3 games, FAMU's turnover percentage is nuts. Look back to this game. 4 turnovers. Last game. Grambling, you get a turnover. Just saying, like, you get a turnover. That was a turnover. South Carolina State, 2 turnovers that almost put them back in the game. Like 3 games, 7 turnovers. That's pretty bad. That's not undisciplined as well, as much as it's not taking care of the ball. Because last game we played disciplined football. The penalties were minuscule in comparison to what we were getting. But this game, I don't know. My opinion has changed. I'll say that. But I'm going to compare us to our common opponent, Jackson State. Points given up, we gave up 59 points to Jackson State. Southern gives up 35. We scored 3 points. Southern got shut out. Okay. Passing yards. FAMU threw for 121 yards. Southern threw for 85. Rushing yards. FAMU rushed for 34. Southern rushed for 164. Okay. If I had a flag to wave right there, watch for Southern's run game. They got some tall receivers. That's going to be something. Because are we going to play safeties over the top? We run a zone-based defense, meaning those receivers are going to simply try to run through the zone. Are we going to adjust? Or are we just going to sit up there and say, this is our base, this is what we run, this is what we do? If that's the case, you can get beat. I'm just going to say it. Turnovers, 3-2. FAMU had 3 turnovers, Southern had 2. Penalties, Southern won that one. FAMU had 4, Southern had 2. And if we're looking at until this last game, last 2 games before that, and the penalties were a talking point. I mean, let's not lie about it. FAMU's turnovers going into homecoming were astronomical, and they weren't good penalties. Oh man, yes, I'm gonna hit that question in a minute. And record 6-2 versus 5-3. So my score prediction is I originally had FAMU up 34-28. I've changed that. FAMU has scored over 30 points in weeks. Not like even homecoming. 24. That's another game where we all say that we left 20 points on the field. I got 28-17 Southern. I don't want to pick Southern. But we've played down to our competition. And I think in the case of Southern, we're almost equal. So got a question though. EA, He says, good evening, sir. We got to get the special teams return game going. Musa needs to run more on the RPO. I agree. And please throw the man and go on wide open crossing patterns. Don't force feed Zay. I agree. I wonder, though, in the Manigo question, is it because Manigo drops balls every once in a while? I know I'm not the only one who notices that, but every once in a while, I like Manigo as a target. Don't get me wrong. But sometimes, man, he reminds me of all of us when we played wide receiver. I'll catch the ball when it's hard and difficult and make this amazing catch. The coach is like throwing his fist up, and then you throw it over the middle, and I get distracted and drop it. I'm like, my bad, coach. I think Xavier is the most consistent receiver, which is why he's forcing it sometimes. And I agree with you. Stop forcing. Like, you ain't got to force it. Xavier's put on good film. Xavier, to me, has put on the type of film that is going to get him a look. He may not get drafted. He'll get a look. I'm firm in that. Now, again, I gave my score prediction. I said 28-17 Southern. I'm sorry, y'all. Don't get mad at me. It's my reasons are this. It's because our offense has been, while improving a little bit, it's still not there. We're not consistent. As soon as we kind of get on a good little groove, we try a trick play or something. We get a little too cute, and something bad happens. And this was the first run game. This past game, homecoming, against an inferior opponent where we rushed for 100 yards. Had a 100-yard rusher, I'm sorry. That was the first time since the Florida Classic that we had a running back go over 100 yards. And EA, I appreciate your question, man. You know I always appreciate it. Because I remember we're sitting in the box, and Democrat G, he's over there talking, and I was like, Gerald, and we're talking to Gerald, and I'm like, he's like, he's over 100 yards. I said, when's the last time that? Somebody said, when's that last time that happened? I said, I bet the Florida Classic, Bishop Bonnet. And Gerald looks it up. He's like, yep, Bishop Bonnet, Florida Classic. I was like, I thought so. Because this year, the running game, running out of the shotgun doesn't work for us. It can work, especially once you've worn a defense down, or if you've shown play action, or not play action, but you've thrown the ball very well. One of the problems we have, though, sometimes we overly throw the ball. We'll throw the ball in a drive 3 consecutive times. And I understand throwing the ball is the most expedient way to move the ball down the field. But the other part of that is, if you're just constantly throwing, one, you're putting the defense on the field too quickly. They need a break. We have a solid defense. But two, eventually, the law of averages is going to mean that you're going to have turnovers. Again, we had 3 interceptions the last game. 2 of them were flukish. One was with a person who wasn't a quarterback. The other, the quarterback's arm gets hit while he's throwing the ball. Okay. But still, that's one of my reasons. Secondly, when we do have turnovers, we keep putting our defense in really terrible football position, fielding. It's ridiculous. We continuously give the opponent plus fields. They're on our side of the field at the 30-yard line, and 3 plays later, they score. And you can't get mad at the defense because you gave them a hand with no spades and no face cards. What you gonna do with that? Nothing. You gonna sit there and take that L. Deal the boys a good hand. You gotta set up a schedule, set up a pace. First down, short passes, runs. They creep up, play action, deep routes over the top, maybe. Mix it up. But just line it up in the shotgun and just having Musa just stand back there, look for a deep route. It's not efficient. It's not prudent. And as a fan, it's frustrating. Just gonna say that. That's my fan. That's not me being the person that does this and does it. That's me being a fan. I want to see some mixing up of the game. I want to see us utilize the pistol because the formation works. I bet they're going to use it against us. We saw it used against us. Like, and we have running backs. We have good running backs. They need to get a head start. Let them get a full head of steam running towards that line, and you're going to see benefits. But if they're having to sidestep and then find a hole, when do they get that 225 to 255 pounds working in their favor? They don't. That's the easy answer to that. And but yeah, those are my big reasons. I also see Southern's rushing yards against a good defense. Just saying. We struggle to run the ball. This past game was the first time we ran the ball all season, and that it wasn't awkward. That we didn't look like, like we had mismatched shoes on that were too big. Like our first time. I like this one. EA says the OL don't have the attitude to drive guys off the ball. You never see our O-line get to the second level to block people or see OL finish blocks to the whistle. Okay. I can't say you're wrong. I'm going to say you're not wrong on that one just because I hadn't seen it. I'm just saying I haven't seen it. Some of it to me is formation though. I wonder how hard is it? And that's just some of the nuances of football. Again, I played football, but I was not great. I was not. I was just there. How much of that is the fact that we run the ball so much out of shotgun? I'm wondering if we got into some formations that allowed our guys to get hands into the dirt and punch off the ball, would we get a different result? I wonder that. I'm gonna wonder out loud. That's not me criticizing our coaching staff. Again, me saying I want to see some different plays, that's borderline criticism. This right here, I don't want to say that's criticism. That's an open question. That's an open question. And I feel like if I were to ask Coach Simmons that question, he would say that, well, we're just running our scheme. That what you're asking for isn't part of our scheme, which is fair. I mean, but again, I feel like in this game, this is a game where you need to run the ball. EA's right. You got to run the ball. Southern picked up a huge transfer when Dooley came over on the defensive line. So you may not have Isaiah land on the other side, but he ain't far off. And to expect our left tackle to block that man for 4 quarters, not going to be able to do it, bro. Like, I'm just saying, you drinking Crown, you think you're going to do it all night. I'm just going to be honest. Like, don't get upset when sacks happen if that's your expectation. Musa's not going to be able to stand up right in the pocket like that. You have to establish the run. You're going to have to probably put a tight end in there and maybe put the tight end as an H-back. I mean, it's a different look. It's something they haven't seen. It's honestly something we haven't done in a long time. We have it in there, but I think that'd be kind of fun. Like, okay, if you're going to run Wildcat, commit to that foolishness. Run something that's darn near a wing T. I saw it the other day. I went to that Popka football game. I'm like, what is this? It looks like a wing T, like the darter. I'm like, I'm not from here, y'all. It's like I'm just here to watch the game, catch some football, see some folks. It worked flawlessly. Maybe if you're gonna do a Wildcat, put an H back in there, take Musa out altogether. That way you don't have to worry about him getting hurt. I don't know if you want to put Xavier as a running back or Jamariah Shareed. They're both fast. Maybe you run a little fake action off of it where they run an option. I know that's a lot. That's a lot asking players who catch the ball to now become like quarterbacks. It's a fun wrinkle, and it's a thought. I don't think we necessarily should do it, but it's a thought. It's just a wild thought. But I think Southern's defense, I think they can contend with our offense. I don't know if they're better than us, but I think they can give us a fight. And that's just me being an honest person. Again, I don't, obviously the orange and green glasses are off because I've predicted a loss. But in a way, I think we're going to win. I think we can win. Like The only reason I'm saying we might lose is because of what I've seen on the field. It's not because I don't think we can. I think we can. I think we can. I think we can. I just realized on the field, the product has been subpar. Like, it's not subpar. Subpar is mean. Subpar is mean. It hasn't been, we haven't played to our level. There we go. We have not played to our potential. FAMU is a 40 to 50 point per game team if we play at max potential. Max potential, FAMU can drop 60 on you. What I've seen is a 20-point team that leaves 20 points on the field per game. We should be averaging 42 to 45 points per game. We're probably averaging closer to like 22 or 23. I didn't do the math on that. That's reckless, irresponsible data. But I would speculate 22 to 24 per game. Just being safe, because we do have 2 games where we got above 30, but the rest of them, nah. So I think those 2 may spike it up. But I think if you put us near 23, 24 per game average, I think that's a fair comparison. But now our keys to winning the game. I know I said Southern 28-17. The only reason I say 28-17, I got that weird turnover vibe going. If we were to lose, a late turnover is going to be what does it. Then it's kind of like garbage time. And the game's going to be on ESPNU. So it's not going to be an HBCU go. So y'all ain't going to get those good angles like you got last week and Charlie Neal and everybody else. You're not going to get that ESPNU. So it's what it is. Hey, FSU, y'all got some cameras y'all can share. Asking for a friend and you're not playing at home. So, I mean, I'm just saying, y'all be down in Miami. You can share. But forgive me. The keys to the game, limit turnovers. FAMU's offense has to limit turnovers. Anything more than 2 turnovers, it's probably an L. Limit the turnovers. Be able to take the check down. Moose has got to take the check down because Moose is a good quarterback. I don't want anybody up here to think, oh, man, you think Moose? No. I came in this season. I'm a hitch my wagon to the horse that brought me. Season started, I was on the Moose train. Told y'all 4 season. I thought he was, but McKay is more responsible with the football. Statistically. At this point, go look it up. But man, that Moose can sling the ball, man. When the Moose gets loose, man, that dude's a problem. But he's got to protect the ball. Offensive line has to block. And you may have to keep the halfbacks and the fullbacks back to block. You may have to keep a tight end there. You may have to run formations where you have an H-back shading to the left or the right to go against that defensive end or a tight end. I'm just saying you may have to have that just to give your quarterback that extra minute extra 5 seconds in the pocket. Secondly, defense. You got to limit the big plays. We run a zone-based defense. That means we're very susceptible to play action. But, man, our secondary them corners was cornering. Them corners was cornering at homecoming. Like, them bowler boys, oof. Them bowler boys is not playing. I'm just saying. Them bowler boys is not playing. I'm going to come to your comment there, EA. Yeah. Also, again, we got to tackle. Like, in that last game, and I'm sorry for the podcasters, for the influx. I do listen, and I was like, ooh, we got to freaking tackle, man. We missed so many blanking tackles at the end of that game, especially in garbage time. That was aggravating. It was. I don't know a nice way of saying that was frustrating, but that was aggravating. You can't miss that many tackles. You can't. That can't happen. We were throwing shoulders. Man, we ain't wrapping nothing up. Like, it's homecoming. You can't wrap up. Anyways, get that there. Special teams, the EA kind of hinted at my thing there. That's why EA says that's why special teams is so important now. If the defense can get 3 and outs, Sheree can affect the game more than just receiving. Guy is an all-conference player. I agree. And, man, you would think I ain't sent him no notes. Make kicks. We missed one kick. And I ain't mad at it. It was a 54-yard field goal. That's nothing to get upset about. That's 54 yards. That's a long kick. It is. But we got to field our punts. Man, we had a punt in the last game. We should not have fielded. Like, just being honest. We had a punt in that game that we should have let go. Sometimes, man, and I know, it's the last home game for our seniors. Bottle that energy. Bottle that desire to go out with a bang so that you can go out with a W. Because as we all know, football is a team sport. When you make an individual decision in a team sport like that, bad things normally happen. That swing pass to the left out of the end zone, that was a dumb behind call. I edited it myself in my head because I almost cursed. That was a stupid play call. Why on this green earth do you have the quarterback throwing a pretty much lateral pass in the end zone, knowing that if it is truly a lateral and it goes out of the side of the end zone, that it turns into a safety? And thank goodness Xavier breaks the tackle or it's a safety. That was not a good play call. Sometimes we get so cute, we overthink ourselves. And even within special teams, I ain't gonna lie. I'm here for a Christopher dual fake. We've gotten one if needed. Keep that in your back pocket. And we've shown it. So it's going to make them play kind of honest. But again, on punts, call fair catch when it's needed. Sometimes there's no shame in doing this. Catching the ball, walking to the sideline. It's important. Special teams has the ability to flip the field. Because with special teams, and we see how our offense sometimes has random series where we just have 3 pass plays. Just incomplete. We ran 10 seconds off the clock. All right, defense, let's get back on the field. And as a fan, you're just like, bro, what are you doing? We have a propensity to do that. So special teams is going to be very important, especially in this game where you're playing an evenly matched opponent. You need to be able to flip the field. Fadul's a great kicker. Jose's a great kicker. Brooks is a good kicker. That young buck is going to be decent. You have to take care of the ball. You have to be responsible because not only is it senior night, and miss me with the we don't lose and brag thing. It's a statement. We haven't lost and brag. Not saying we can't. But the mystique of brag is not going to make them lose. What's going to make Southern lose is us being focused, us being prudent and productive with the ball, and we got to score. Like, the goal should be to score every drive. If it's nothing more than a field goal, score every drive. I understand it's not realistic, but again, that's why I said the goal, because then special teams is working, you're flipping the field, defense may be getting to stay fresh by staying off the field, and man, a fresh Isaiah Land ain't what you want, especially when you're getting half price pizzas at Hungry Howie's if he gets a sack in the game. I'm just saying, that's all right. Like, so those are my keys to the game. We need to do those things to win. If we do not do those things, we are not going to win this game. You have to do those things. You have to protect the ball. Number one, on offense, you got to protect the ball. On defense, limit big plays. How will Southern run their offense against our zone? Notice I didn't put that we have to get turnovers. I don't know what Southern's quarterback looks like. And I don't want to say like, oh, he ain't nothing. Like, no. I mean, I've seen him, but I ain't sure. But I don't know. I don't know. Let's see. Oh, EA. On defense, watch for them to try to isolate BJ Bowler on the SU's Cassius Allen, 6'4" receiver in the red zone. I agree. That's why I stated, do we keep the safeties back deep? Because South Carolina State put on good film showing that, and I remember saying this to coach that week going into the game. What do we do? How do we cover the jump ball? And it was kind of like, well, you just gotta cover it. And we didn't put two safeties over the top until we really had to. You got to throw your pride to the side. I think, I'll be honest, I think BJ plays nickel a lot of this game. I think his brother, the other bowler, I think Kendall and Courtney Cox are going to be your starting boundary corners. BJ plays in the slot position. I think he's a slot corner naturally anyway. Excuse the And I think that's what's going to work best. I think your safeties are tall enough. Your linebackers are good. They just have to not commit penalties. Your defensive ends are solid. Hopefully everyone is healthy. But I'm watching for that. That is what I'm looking for. That's why I said, how do they work against our zone? Because we've seen our zone fail. I've seen it fail. To me, the Jackson State game was an epic failure. That was a unmitigated disaster. At times, the South Carolina State game, disaster. Now, the question is, how mobile is Southern's quarterback? Because FAMU struggles against mobile quarterbacks. Quiet as it is kept. That's a thing that none of us are talking about. Nobody's saying this. FAMU has struggled against mobile quarterbacks. Look what Calvez did. Look what Pine Bluff's quarterback could do. He wasn't accurate. He wasn't accurate. He wasn't accurate with a curse. Like, bless the man, the young man, but he wasn't accurate. But if he were more accurate, a mobile quarterback wreaks havoc on this defense. Heck, look what Shadura did against us when he started moving the pocket. Look what Albany State's quarterback did. Like, I'm not giving away trade secrets. I'm not sitting up here watching extensive film for 20 hours. I didn't do that. But in my memory bank, I can sit up there and look back and say, yep, this quarterback, that quarterback. So when the quarterback is mobile and kind of accurate, we have problems. Can Southern's quarterback be accurate? I'm fairly certain he can be mobile. I've seen him play. Can he be accurate? If he is accurate, it's a problem. If he's not, we're going to eviscerate them because he's going to make a mistake. And our corners jump routes right well. They do really well in coverage when they can see the ball. So that's going to be a huge thing. And again, special teams. No plays off. Hopefully nobody waters the field before the game. But it's going to be those things. Those are, for me, those are the big takeaways. And that's going to be our keys to success. Like, if we are able to take care of the ball on offense, score. I forgot to say establish the run. You got to establish it. It ain't got to be proficient, but it needs to at least be established. Then on defense, limit the big plays, make freaking tackles. We got to wrap up and tackle. You got to wrap up and tackle. You got to keep the quarterback somewhat corralled. Like, you got to keep him in a certain area because if he starts extending the play, the defense gets tired. Those are my plays. Those are my keys. And I think FAMU can win this game. Again, I have Southern. I got, based on our last 4 games, 28-17. I want us to win, though. I think we can win. I think we should win. But I think Southern will win. Just looking at film and whatnot. So, but we've run 46, almost an hour. Y'all, I don't really like to go that long. But I'll be on the road early in the morning, so I already got my bad. Family secret before the podcast. I take a shower just like y'all in the room. I'm sorry. My mama taught me to be clean. So I just, so I'm already ready for bed. But so I'm gonna leave early in the morning. If I see you there, throw a wave, throw a fist pump, say what's up. Hey, what's up, Keith? You know, a couple people saw me at the game. But as always, big shout out, HBCU Digital Network. This is home. This is the mothership. This is the place where we come to be. Also, shout out to Cable Busters. $35 gets you live sports, live TV on up to 3 devices. Also, Herb Stewart, my man, Herb Stewart. He is doing basketball podcasting, and he's also going to be doing a little something on the mothership too. And hopefully I can get on there as well, talk about FAMU basketball. I don't think I'll make that game at UF. I don't think so. I might try to make it when the girls play the Gators, but I definitely got my eye on a few games, especially the game in Daytona. I've never been to an event at BCU, so got my eye on a couple events, and I think I'm gonna skip the Kentucky game. We're working on a little something, so we can be home a little more and do a little more. But as always, y'all, thank y'all for watching. I always appreciate it. Thank you for the likes, share, tell a friend about us. I will be back. We're gonna do a post-game podcast after the FAMU Southern game. I'm gonna try to find a better spot. Like I know that was like, but when you go home, you don't always have your equipment. I'm taking my screens with me. I'm gonna set up, try to make it look better. Try to keep it looking like I look at home. So, but as always, y'all, big shout out. Thank y'all. I appreciate y'all. And as always, this is Fangs Up on HBCU Digital Network and YouTube, Twitter, and other places.
Yeah, baby, you know what time it is. Now let's get it started.
Are you kidding me? Unreal.
While our HBCUs are